And for those celebrating Eid, happy Eid to all of you. And let's hope that these days, the summer days and the sunny days bring happiness with them and bring a turnaround for what we're going through as COVID. Quickly, my name is Nadir Bassit. I'm Egyptian, I'm 47, and I founded and head Wakira Investments. Wakira Investments is a company based out of Dubai. We're mandated to acquire businesses, homegrown brands, grow them, and then export them beyond the frontiers of the UAE. So far, over the last 4 years, we've screened more than 200 restaurant companies. So a lot of the restaurant companies, if not all those who were up for sale or interested in capital increase or interested in having a new shareholder coming on board, we spoke to. And through this, we managed to acquire our current businesses. We own Pulsha King, which is one of the staple figures in the Indian cuisine, modern Indian cuisine. We own El Greco, that's a Greek cuisine. We own Num Num Asia, Ghinwa, which is an Arabic cafe. It was mainly housed in 4-star hotels. And we have our own catering business and a big CPU, HACCP certified, called SDG, Super Delicious Gourmet. We've had a couple of other dark kitchen brands, Currylicious and Quinoa Power. And since then, we've been operating these brands and growing them within the UAE and working on their franchising models, etc., to export them. Before COVID, we were very close to starting our business in Saudi through a partnership. Now, it's not canceled, but it's on hold. And we were also in advanced discussions in New York to franchise Pulsha King over there. Again, it's not canceled, but it's still frozen. This being said, when we first started this business, the whole idea was to have a mothership, Wakira, and the individual pillars, the businesses under the mothership, synergizing with the mothership. So buying, we always bought as Wakira. We never bought individually as restaurants. It's always a Wakira central buying attitude. ERP, it has always been our Microsoft vision for Wakira, and then every pillar would come in and would be integrated. HR, marketing, operations, everything was done from the mothership in a synergy fashion so that we can save on costs and increase the efficiencies of the stores. This also allowed us as Wakira to be among the very first, if not the first, to launch dark kitchens from within our own restaurants back in 2017. In 2017, even the DAD did not know what dark kitchens were. We had to go through how are we going to be setting the legislations forward so that we can be controlled by DAD and by Dubai municipality. And this was also allowed with this mothership mentality. Now with COVID, like all other restaurant businesses, we're not living our happiest days, of course, because our catering business is not there anymore. Our hotels business is not there anymore. And the dine-in business is been impacted dramatically. So far, deliveries, we're doing better than pre-COVID. So far, so good, but we can do much better. And that's why we're working on several initiatives now on delivery to pick it up. And hopefully that in the coming few days and weeks, we'll see that pick up as a result of our plans. And parallel to that, we started thinking together with Mira, together with other movements, on how we can come together as restaurateurs and cut all the unnecessary fat. There is a lot of fat in this industry, and that's a beautiful industry because it's all built on heart and efficiency. Restaurants combine several industries together. We're combining hospitality, we're combining production because we buy raw material and we transform them into delicious dishes. We combine diplomacy because we have to be hospitable, we have to listen to our customers, we have to adapt to our customers, we have to be nice to our customers even when they're giving us bad feedback. So all of these require, a lot of agility and a lot of efficiency in the way we run business. Otherwise, we'll not be able to make money. So coming with the COVID, we decided to look at it as a blessing and as an invitation to reinvent the way we think and the way we do business. The first thing we thought of is let's go and see what can we expand and share with other restaurants. get out of the taboo of we don't want to share data or we do not want to share our competitive edge, etc. No, we would be happy to share things like we have a CPU that's HACCP certified, that's 12,000 square feet, that's headed by one of the famous executive chefs in the UAE. We already pay for all of that. So whatever we're going to charge anybody who wants to join forces in the CPU or for us to help him or to serve him out of our central processing unit, we will not charge him, all the big costs that already charged on Wakira. We will be charging them something like the variable cost and a little margin for us. So this would make more sense to restaurants, to use our CPU service. Another thing that we thought of is the central buying attitude. We already buy for our 5 brands centrally. We have 30 points of sales that we're managing, and all of them are bought through one central unit in Wakira. Why not, having that central unit start buying not only for Wakira, but for a bigger number of restaurants? And how can we together as restaurants, sharing the same pains, sharing the same problems, how can we benefit from cutting the unnecessary fat? And here we quickly discovered that we're all singing the same song, but not only from a restaurant standpoint, but also from a supplier standpoint. Talking to our suppliers, and many of them are your suppliers because they're the biggest in the country, here are their 3 problems. Today, their biggest problem and biggest fear and worry is predictability. These suppliers bought products, most of which were imported. These products landed here sometime in Q1 based on the volume trends of Q1 and prior. And now with the volume dropping for some of us 70, 80%, and for the lucky ones, 50, maybe 40%, this meant a lot of stocks, overstocks that are sitting in their warehouses, which means that some of these products are going to expire. So a lot of wastage that was not accounted for. Again, this all leads to a big problem of what's the next order. Should I order based on previous or should I order based on current? For us as restaurateurs, when we find our suppliers having a problem in their shortage of supplies because they're afraid of ordering big quantities and then having to face the wastages alone, this means that we will fall short as well. We will find, for those of us doing sushi, for instance, if you run out of salmon or good quality salmon, I don't think that this would be good news for you. This would be like a backbreaker, for a sushi concept, a biryani concept. If you run out of good rice, okay, for any reason, I'm just giving big examples, I don't think this would be a good piece of news. Now, the runouts or the shortages or the lack of predictability will definitely lead to hike in prices. Prices will go up if suppliers are wasting a lot of product, if suppliers are afraid of ordering for future orders, and if suppliers are having less volumes to deploy into the market. So this would imply that the prices on restaurants are going to go up. That's the second problem. So the first problem is predictability, and the second problem is the prices due to the predictability and the wastages. The third problem is what will happen with the payments. We have, as restaurants, bought product from suppliers in Q1 based on our trends then. Today, the trend got slashed, if you're lucky, by half. How are you going to find the necessary cash to pay back your supplier for what you bought, physically bought in Q1? And how are you going to do it? So where's the money going to come from? And again, going to point number 1, predictability. Suppliers don't know when you're going to pay them. And this for them is putting a lot of pressure on their cash flows and their fear, since they're seeing a lot of restaurants staying closed and God knows whether they're going to reopen or not. So where's the cash going to come from? So these 3 problems with the suppliers, predictability is 1, the pricing, is 2nd, and the cash and how they're going to manage the cash is the 3rd. These 3 problems are our problems as restaurateurs, because if they have shortages, we will not be able to continue doing the business the way we're used to. If they hike the prices, then we'll not be able to maintain our prices to consumers who are, let's face it, getting poorer. And if these 2 happen, we will have another issue, having the suppliers not coping with us or not capable of coping with us. So the idea came, how can we help both parties? So help suppliers on one hand and help restaurants on the other hand. From talking to suppliers, we found that predictability came on top of their priorities. So if we can bundle up, if we can team up and talk with the suppliers on sort of telling them, these are the volumes that we foresee for the next 4 weeks, 8 weeks, based on the current status quo. This is what's going to happen. Forget the past, where we're heading now. That's what's going to happen now. And we start talking to them, giving them this confidence, giving them this forecast of that's what we're going to buy. Then we will be able to negotiate with them, having the right pricing for us, having the right payment terms for us, and having the right product quantity or volumes available for us. But unless we bundle up, unless we team up, and we go to suppliers as a team to tell them about the volumes we expect and to tell them about what will make us survive in terms of prices, in terms of products, in terms of quality, in terms of payment plan, this will have a disconnect in terms of the communication between us and suppliers, and will backfire for sure in the next few weeks. It's not going to last month. This is in the next few weeks. We're going to start seeing suppliers, falling short. We're going to see suppliers, stopping deliveries because they're not getting paid, not being able to receive from their own suppliers overseas because they haven't paid them. And this has to be acted upon now. So to summarize what we've said, we have two things that we can start working on together and where Wakira can be of help to all the community. One is to buy together, to go talk to the suppliers together. And because we want to do it in a fast and efficient manner, we thought that this can be done through an SLA. So where every restaurant owner or every restaurant business would actually SLA Wakira to allow it to go talk on its behalf as a negotiation with the supplier in hand. And then whatever we gain, we all gain out of it. I'll talk later about how everybody can be compensated in this. And the second thing we can do to help is the central processing unit services. So any restaurant who's needing to have a central processing unit, because this will help the restaurant to reduce the number of staff at the unit itself. You don't need people to prepare. You don't need people, to do the gravies, etc. We can do all of that for the restaurant at the CPU. And we will challenge, ourselves in order to ensure that whatever cost you get out of the CPU is cheaper than the cost you do it of you doing it yourself. Otherwise, it will not make sense to you. So these are two services today that I wanted to share with the team, with the group, and to have a discussion around how we can make this work, if you think it makes sense.
It's the same kind of exercise and the same.
And how we can actually action these activities, because we are strong believers, and personally, I'm a very strong believer in this. Those who will move faster will survive. Those who will take time to think and try to wait for sunny days, to come soon, I doubt that we will see them at the end of the day, because they will be bleeding money. And the name of the game today, how can we reduce the cash bleeding, and how can we cut the unnecessary fat out of our system, not only to survive, but to come out of this stronger than the way we came in.
Okay, so how can I help you?
Because then you know what you're looking for, okay? So you do a very...
Hello? Okay. Damien, any comments?
Things. Let me switch myself back on here. Bear with me a second. Yeah. I think there's no doubt about it. This is all solid sense. Cutting the fat, clubbing together is exactly what the restaurant associations are about. So what I want to do is if I can unmute everybody to ask questions. So please mind your microphones now if I unmute you, and then questions can follow. So everybody should be able to ask questions now if they wish.
My first question, Nadir, is what's the SLA? What do you mean by SLA?
Okay. I think Mohammed was the one talking. Hello, Mohammed.
Yes, Mohammed.
Yes, very good. SLA, it's a simple one-pager that says that restaurant brand X is allowing Wakira to negotiate on its behalf with the suppliers, for terms. And this SLA it's clearly mandating the framework or what the authorities, it's like a POA if you want, the authorities for Wakira. So Wakira, for example, cannot go and negotiate on the restaurant's behalf for hiring people, for instance, or for doing any marketing event. It's only with the suppliers of food, beverages, and packaging. That's the SLA, that's what we mean. And in that SLA, we say what is requested from Wakira is to get better prices, okay, for the restaurant, and this is how it will get compensated, is to get payment terms, okay, that are favorable. By favorable, this means better than what the restaurant currently has, or at least equal, so maintaining them. And last but not least, it's securing that the restaurant will be able to order directly from the supplier at his will, whenever and whatever he needs, without a lot of guidelines, minimum order, etc. We're trying with the suppliers to find ways to work upon that in order to neutralize them as much as possible. To do this, we are now experimenting, two applications, one of which seems almost ready. This application is an application that goes into your system, so whether your POS or your phone even, and this gets you direct link to the supplier. And this supplier, you go, the price is flagged every day, and these prices, you pick whatever you want in terms of products, you place the order goes straight to the supplier, and by going to the supplier through that application, the supplier will know that you're part of the clubbing under Wakira. So you will be allowed the prices, the payment terms, etc., but all the dealings will be direct between you and your supplier. The payments will be direct to the supplier, your orders will go direct to the supplier, and supplier will deliver directly to you. Wakira, in this case, is only negotiating on your behalf, only orchestrating on your behalf, how we can club together so that suppliers have a benefit, that we have a benefit too as restaurants in order to... Hello? Ahmed, does it make sense?
Yeah, yes. Maybe to require a little more in details, like how the process, how it will work. Now I know SLA probably meant it's like a power of attorney thing. So we're just giving you the right to negotiate with our supplier or
Yes.
new suppliers. What is the...
Absolutely. It's on specific things. So we will agree, for example, on, 10 items, for instance, for your restaurant, the 10 items that matter the most for you. And we will go and negotiate with suppliers the best possible for you. Now, in some things, it's very straightforward. In terms of the quality is the same, the brand is the same. If you tell me I want, for example, Nutella is the same. There's no quality discussion there. And some other things like chicken, there is a discussion on which type of chicken you want. Are you looking for frozen? You're looking for fresh? You're looking for 1K or 900 grams or 1.1? Are you looking for full chicken or breast only? So there are lots of specs there. Once we agree on what specs you need, then we start negotiating with suppliers. Some of them will be yours and some of them will be new. And then it will be the choice, because you will have the flexibility on your application to order from the supplier of your choice. You will see the prices every day. Suppliers who will be chosen and retained will have to flag the prices every day. If there's any change, you will see it. And then you place your order direct to the supplier. The dealing goes as such. If any problems, then Wakira will interfere again.
Thank you very much, Nadir.
You're welcome, Mohammed. Anytime. Please feel free to get in touch directly.
Sure.
So I have a question here, please.
Ahmed, again.
Hello?
Ahmed?
Yes, hi.
Ahmed.
Sorry, I came a bit late to the meeting, but I can understand that you're trying to group purchases for all the restaurants to leverage on the purchasing power. Okay,
Yes.
Currently, I'm using almost 1 metric ton of chicken, okay,
Yes.
whole chicken currently, okay, which is a huge amount of chicken. How are you going? What vehicle are you gonna use in order to forecast for all of these restaurants? Otherwise, you, like, let's say you go and you speak to a supplier, okay. Usually when we're like for restaurants business, because I'm involved in a restaurant and in central kitchen, okay, for big contracts of catering contracts, okay. Now when we have a big contract, like now we're working on 14,000 people per day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a very big amount, but that might not be the case after I don't know, after 2 months, you know what I mean. So when we talk to suppliers now, okay, we do that sort of things by saying that our forecast for the year is going to be, let's say, this many metric tons of rice or whatever, okay, and based on that we can get better prices usually, okay. But to forecast all of this, this is my question number one. Question number two, is it gonna be the ordering, is it gonna keep going by restaurants, is it gonna be central ordering, you know, and for day-to-day ordering?
Okay. Let me answer the first question and then I'll go to the second one. The first question on the forecasting, how will we do it? We have already generated some information through a simple Excel sheet that every restaurant owner or restaurant brand fills. And this sheet is telling us how much he actually sold in 2019, how much he actually bought in 2019, and what are the biggest 5 items that he purchased, and from which the biggest 5 suppliers. So by just collecting this information, we will know the size of the club or the size of this Wakira Alliance, let's call it, in 2019. And then we'll make assumptions on that. Today, a company like NPD, for instance, whom I believe some of you are working with, providing us, you know, with the market data on a weekly basis, they're claiming that the whole market in Dubai, based on the 1,200 restaurants data on a weekly basis, are down 75% versus a year ago. So we'll go and say, this is the volume that these businesses actually sold and bought last year, 2019. Worst case scenario, we're at the rock bottom today, we're at 75% down. So at least, Mr. Supplier, you will be able to know this is the worst case scenario of this club, of this alliance. And anything that comes on top is good news for you. Now, if you were doing 1 metric ton, to quote your example, if you were doing 1 metric ton of chicken and your business is down 60%, so you go down to 400 Ks, you will have a hard time negotiating with your supplier. But if you go to the supplier and say, look, instead of us as a club doing 100 tons of chicken, we're doing 60 tons of chicken, the discussion is different. Because you're already at a higher trench, you're already at a container plus, you know, discussion versus, you know, individually as businesses when you're talking, you know, in kilos and not in tons. So that's one way of doing it. And suppliers today, all they need is to start having some kind of forecast, predictability. And what do you think is better for them? 1-by-1 forecast, or having a club, having another Americana in the market, or another McDonald's in the market, telling them this is the big volume that looks like being the rock bottom today, and the future can only get better. Because what else could happen more than losing 75% of the business? I don't think, we've been, by the way, flat at minus 75, between 70 and 75 for the last 6 weeks. So it's been, this is like the rock bottom. Couple it with Ramadan, couple it with the stoppage of a lot of catering businesses, etc. So that's the answer to the first question of how is the focus going to be done? Gathering information on 2019, on sales, in the cases, gathering information on which items were the top 5 and what were the volumes, and which suppliers were your top 5 suppliers. Based on that, we will go and tell them this is what happened in 2019. The market went down by 75% now, so that's where we are. it can only get better because we've been flattening or plateauing at this level for the last 6 weeks. Now, this is what we'll commit to as volume. What if it starts increasing? What are we going to get? And again, they want to exist, they want to survive, and we want to survive. So it's not like a fight. It's how we can work together, how we can tango together. Because at the end of the day, I owe you money, and you cannot live without me continuing to survive. If I close down, your money is gone forever, Mr. Supplier. So for you, it's in your interest to see how we can together, shoulder to shoulder, work throughout these tough times. The second question, you were talking about the catering businesses, right?
Yeah.
Ordering, and then the ordering on a daily basis. Understand correctly? So
yes.
ordering on a daily basis, Wakira's role will be to negotiate with the suppliers and to install the framework for prices, for payment terms, for minimum order quantities, etc. This will be Wakira's role. And Wakira's role will end by having to install an application, software, in your system, on your phone or in your POS. And this software will allow you to order directly from your store to the supplier, directly. You will not need to go through Wakira. So this will save us time and cost and all of that. But most importantly, it will ensure the accountability and the reliability of your order. You place the order by yourself to the supplier that you chose. This order will go to the supplier, but it will go in a coded form that shows the supplier that this is part of the Wakira Alliance agreement. So this restaurant needs to benefit from the prices, from the payment plans, from minimum order quantity, etc., 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 that was agreed by Wakira with you. As if you are, Wakira, exactly as if Wakira was buying. And so this is the answer to your second question. It's a software that you will have, very user-friendly, by the way, very, very simple. You would find all the items listed on it, and we'll keep adding items every day as we have more restaurants joining the initiative every day. You pick what you want, you press on it, you pick the supplier of your choice, it goes to the supplier, delivers to you after his SLA, and here it goes. And your financial liability as supplier is between the restaurant and the supplier directly. Wakira has no financial liability for the supplier. It's a direct relationship. Wakira will only do the facilitation. Wakira will only help get this deal for both parties, for the suppliers and for the restaurants.
Excellent. Very good.
So what's going to happen with new suppliers? Are they going to need to go to Wakira if they want to trade in UAE?
Thank you, Vladis, for the question. New suppliers, they can come either way. They either come to you as a restaurant and they say, you know what, we have these supplies. Assume that you want to venture into a new product, acai, for instance. And an acai supplier comes and meets you, one or two. And you see that on the Wakira list, there is no acai supplier. Well, they're most welcome, to be redirected by you to Wakira, because Wakira in this case will say, wait a minute, Vladis needs acai. Anybody else in the community needs acai, guys? If they do, then we'll have that volume. Again, Wakira cannot, in the beginning specifically, confirm all your supplies. We will focus on the 80% of what you buy, so the big bulks, like what Ahmed was saying earlier, the chicken, rice, the spices, meat, red meat, or salmon for those doing sushi. This is what we'll focus on in the beginning. Then there will come smaller categories or new suppliers, as you call them. There's no problem in getting them routed through Wakira. And in this case, what will happen? We will see the total volume needed from the alliance, and we will discuss with the suppliers on the best terms possible, and we'll put it on the application again. So you will see on the application this new supplier being flagged with the prices, with the items that the supplier is offering for you, and you can go and order from him directly.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Nadir. But just maybe one last question. Who's going to be responsible for quality?
Very good question. Anybody is welcome, to give us all the parameters that he wants us to adhere to as far as quality is concerned. I've had very interesting discussions over the last 2 weeks with people, especially doing seafood and doing sushi and doing poke, because it's very sensitive, it's raw, and there's a big variation between, a tuna and a tuna, a salmon and a salmon, big variations and big price differences. So we agreed that we're going to get all the parameters, and if necessary, we will have among the team, among the alliance, like a small committee that would approve the suppliers once and for all in our CPU. So they will come, they'll be invited to come to the CPU. We'll have the suppliers, get the products, we approve the quality, and we say, this is what we want, and we move forward. And we can choose who from that committee. Now, in our CPU, because we're HACCP certified, so we have our full crew of QHSE, and we do the same thing, very rigorous procedure to accept the supplier and to approve the supplier. But we're open to have, a committee. We can't have everybody, but we can elect, a committee that will come and say, okay, we approve these suppliers. And at the end of the day, there will never be one supplier for one item, Vladis. So if we go back to the salmon example, salmon will have 2 or 3 suppliers. So you will have the luxury of saying, okay, either one of them was my previous supplier, so I'm happy with him, I'll continue, or all of them are new, but they're having, better prices, better deals than my previous supplier, then give it the benefit of the doubt and try it. Okay, until you're happy and satisfied, stay with your supplier.
What about the credit? If changing of suppliers sometimes called for apply, like now most restaurants and central kitchens, they've been dealing with the same company for a long time. They build this trust, whatever. If you go to a new company, then the credit, everyone is working on credit now. So where does that fit in this?
Good. Look, there's no one size fits all, Ahmed. I'm sure you understand this.
Yes, of course.
You have to play it case by case and have to play it restaurant by restaurant. But the overall or generic answer I can think of is the following. Take these facts. We were 11,000 restaurants December 2019. Today, I don't know whether we're more than 4,000, 4,500 restaurants that are open today as we speak. I don't know whether the ones that are closed are going to ever open. Now, put yourself in the shoes of the supplier. These were his customers too. Now, these customers owed him money too. Now, this money doesn't look like coming back anytime soon, if ever. So what's the supplier going to do? Either he competes to be among, the chosen suppliers by Wakira to remain in the race, and
or he's out.
Or he is out. And if he's out, he's not going to be only out from the Wakira Alliance, and I hope that this could be big, because if we're only 50, 60 restaurants doing this alliance, it will not have the same impact as if we were 500 restaurants. It's completely different. The weight, the forecast, the impact, and the attractiveness, of course, suppliers will be much less. So if we can club more and more, into that initiative, then suppliers, assuming for one item there is 10 suppliers, we will not be able to retain all 10. We'll retain 3, 4. Who are these 3, 4? The best out of the crowd. Now, how are we going to deal with the individual credit of individual restaurants with them? We'll handle this issue when we get to it. Because honestly, today, it will be a case by case. It will not be a one size fits all. We'll have to find a way, to handle it. But today, what's more important, survival or just, the relationship with the supplier? If the relationship is so important and so strong and so solid, and the supplier wants to survive and compete, he will get into the pool and say, yes, I want to compete, I want to do the right thing, and I want to offer the right parameters, payment terms, and prices to attract this club or to attract this alliance. And that's how we stay. Because some suppliers, restaurants, Ahmed, I think half of the restaurants are going to disappear in Dubai, at least in the short term. They're not going to open very soon. And I think suppliers too. Half of the suppliers in Dubai are going to disappear. So there will be, casualties in suppliers as well, because who else are they going to sell to? They used to sell to 11,000. Now they cannot, the same number of suppliers sell to 5,000. They can't. Some of them are going to merge, disappear, or whatever, or do something like what we're doing. Buy together. Instead of each one of them competing and buying mutton on his own, they can go and buy, from complete farms somewhere, overseas, and have better terms and survive this way. So we'll see.
That's good. I think that would be bringing the food cost for many restaurants maybe 5-6%, which could make the difference between P or L. So I think yeah, I think that's a great initiative.
We've done a simulation, okay, of how much we can actually save on these things, and we found that if you have an average restaurant who used in 2019 to do 30% COGS, okay, of his sales, because of the drop in volumes and because of what could happen in terms of shortages, wastages, and the smaller volumes, so suppliers may go up. And because of the discounts that restaurants will be forced to do at some point because of the consumer getting poorer, this COGS will not stay at 30%. It will go higher because the top line will be lower. So the first challenge would be how we can maintain it at 30%. And the second challenge would be how we can bring it down. We think it will not be 5-6 points. It will be 2 points, but 2 points forever. It's not 2 points that are going to be only during COVID and then disappear. No, it's how we can target, saving 2 percentage points, which are close to 7%, okay, of your COGS cost, and to have this forever, so that whatever comes as saving afterwards would be over and above. So it would be this would be a new benchmark. So if you were at 30, you become at 28, and this becomes the benchmark to be beaten. How are we going to do 27 afterwards? How are we going to do 26, et cetera, et cetera? If it was the old days, yes, I would have agreed with you. If the volumes were still there, if the restaurants were still solid, strong, etc., yes, it would have meant 4 or 5 points because this is the net margin that was in the system. But today, because the volumes went dramatically down, your first challenge would be, can you go back to the COGS you were at in December 2019? And then can you save another couple of points, from this COGS? If this happens, this will help us survive.
Absolutely. I think the one question I think is key here, and that might be good for another Zoom call, is when we get the technology ready, the app, the ordering system is ready. I think that will be a crucial thing. What happens with it day to day, that's probably worth another call once the technology is ready.
Yeah, I think, Damien, thank you for bringing this up. We can do actually 2 things. And these both, I hope, are good news for all of you. The first one, the app is ready. So I can actually organize some kind of a demo, okay, for whomever is interested. And we can do it online like we're doing now. And we show you how, the app is going to help us deliver what we're talking about. So that's one. The second thing is the SLA itself is ready. It's been verified, by a lot of people from the industry and a lawyer as well, our lawyer, to ensure that it's a very simple page. And this SLA simply says the following. It says, whatever Wakira is going to be saving to the restaurants, Wakira will keep 35% and the restaurants will keep 65%. Whatever it saves, which implies if it doesn't save anything, everything that it's doing will just go in vain. It won't work. Okay, it won't happen. And for us to be able to start the work, what we will do is club as many restaurants as possible. So what's required from every restaurant who's interested is just to fill the Excel sheet that we're going to send on the group right after this call. It's a very simple Excel sheet. Fill it, please, and send it to me. Myself and one person only will be seeing it, so it will not go public. It's very private to you. The objective of that Excel sheet is to pile up and to consolidate all the volumes so that we can start, having enough volume to go and talk to the suppliers. As we speak today, we don't have enough volume to make an impact with suppliers. So if we go talk to them with the volume that we have today from the restaurants, plus our volume as okay, it won't make a difference because we're already big with suppliers. So we need more volume. We need more participants to that initiative. So I'll send the Excel sheet to be filled. Please do it and send it directly to me. I'll send the SLA on the system so you can see it. And in the SLA, there are all the services that we can do, not only the CPU and the central buying, in case you're interested. And the third thing would be the demo. I'll organize it with you, Damien, if you don't mind, to have, again, another Zoom call where I'll invite our tech partners to do the demo for the application and to show how this is very user-friendly and can actually perform what I was talking about earlier.
Where will you send the Excel sheet on by email, or how will you send that?
Shall I send it on WhatsApp group, Damien?
I can put it in both WhatsApp groups, and I can email it to everybody who is here now.
Would you like?
I'm not on the group though. Okay, will you be able to add me to the WhatsApp group, please?
Yes. I'm going to put my number in the chat now. So my number's coming in the chat. Just message me directly.
Please.
Okay. And the chat, you mean in the on Telegram?
No. Yeah, on Zoom.
So you should see a chat. Chat on the Zoom call.
Oh, okay. Yes, I see. Yeah.
But I will put this on a shared somewhere as well. I'll get it on a shared resource on the shared site, which is creativity.org.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Okay, I will message you on that, and you'll add me to the group.
Yeah, we'll get you into the group as well.
Great. All right.
So
sounds very good.
So the Excel sheet and the SLA on the group, Damien, if you're allowed.
Yeah.
And then we'll organize you and me on when should we actually have this demo, okay, for the application. But again, what matters the most now is to club as many people as possible, as much volume as we can, fast under this initiative, if we want to start to the suppliers. The sooner we go, the better off for all of us, us and them. The more we wait, the more we need.
Got to say, from my perspective, buying groups obviously happen throughout Europe. Buying groups very rarely hurt anybody. The only problem is always logistics of who orders where and what does who and who does what. So I think this it's hard to lose here.
Absolutely.
Okay. We are 46 minutes in, so let's draw this to a close. I will. Anybody needs to join the groups, please do message me privately. I will email everybody who's been on the Zoom call now with all details as well, and then hopefully we can all move forward with this.
Great.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for attending, and I'll be in touch.
Bye.
Thanks again.